Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, my number one, is Dead Rising 3 on the Xbox One.
Oh shit.
I mentioned it briefly a couple of weeks ago or last week, and it really is comfortably the best Xbox One game out at the moment, and exclusive, obviously. It's two things they fixed. First thing is that zombie killing is a lot more entertaining, and you can't get screwed over by accident. So if you jump into a load of zombies and you start fighting, you basically can't lose if you've got your head screwed on. Dead Rising and Dead Rising 2, occasionally a zombie could jump at you, and it was just all very unsatisfying. Here. And it's so much bigger. You know, the number of zombies that you kill. By the first playthrough that I did, I was almost rank 50, and I'd killed in excess of 50,000 zombies. And it's the zombie killing is so fun. But the other thing that they fixed is that ridiculous structure that the first two Dead Rising games had, which never made any sense to me. It was just a recipe for it to never be satisfying, because if you didn't play them, there was a constant clock which you couldn't change, and you basically had a certain number of in-game days to do all the stuff you wanted to do, and there were side missions and missions, and you couldn't do all of them, so you ended up completing the game with people dying that you needed to save, etc. And it was all I found it very frustrating, and when they brought it back for Dead Rising 2, I was just like, why? But the system works now is that there's still a time limit. A bomb is going to drop in 7 days, I think it is, but you have two concurrent clocks, basically. You have a level that you get to, and you have a time, so you can basically gauge how much time you have, and there is more than enough time to do everything. You can find all the collectibles, you could do all the main missions, do all the side missions, do all the side bosses. You could do all of the game before the time limit runs out comfortably. The problem is that it's so entertaining to kill zombies, you just end up going off on a tangent, and you just end up losing hours. I mean, I played on co-op with a friend, and it's like Halo co-op. There's no reference to it in the story. You're just another guy who's there. And the amount of times we'd go to a safe house, get our tools ready, and then say, oh, okay, well, let's go. We'd set a waypoint together. Incidentally, smart glass implementation is brilliant, because you have your pad or your phone next to you, and you can set waypoints that instantly updates the gameplay on the Xbox. It gives it moments, give it a kind of Zombie U kind of vibe, because you're in the middle of, it's all hectic. You don't want to pause the game, so you turn to your tablet and you just quickly, set a waypoint, or you can phone this guy and he'll give you some stuff. It's clever. It's actually a decent, meaningful addition to the game. But yeah, we'd set a waypoint and we'd go, and 20 minutes later I'd be like, whereabouts are you? And we've gone on two different tangents down two different roads just hacking zombies up, because it's so much fun. The crafting, there are hundreds and hundreds of combinations for crafting weapons, and when you find blueprints, which are a collectible, you'll find a blueprint, and in that vicinity, right next to that blueprint, are the things you need, and once you've crafted something, they're in your safe house. So you never have to dick around trying to find, I need this to make this. You just literally pick up a baseball bat and some nails, you've got a bat, it's all very straightforward, but once you've done it once, it's in your locker in your safe house. And there are also perks you can buy, so you can turn every blade into... basically, if you have a weapon that's a knife and a banger, a firecracker or something, if you buy this perk, you don't need a knife. It can be a sword, it can be any edged weapon. And you can buy one for blunt weapons. So every time you have a baseball bat and nails, you don't need a baseball bat, it can be a bit of wood. So by the end of the game, if you're in things kicking off, you just run, grab everything you can, and you can just craft stuff. You can craft almost anything. You're crafting random stuff on the fly, using it in rucks. And I had so much fun playing it. I truly did. I think they've ironed out all of the crap that has sort of kind of bogged down this series. Much as I've liked it, I think this is so far and away the best one. And even if you didn't like the first two, you said you weren't a fan of them.
Not really, no.
I would say all day you've got to try this. It's like they've got it really, really right.
Only on co-op?
I'm going to go through it again on single player. I think co-op is... We had an absolute blast playing it on co-op, because you can also help each other out, if one of you gets down.
Yeah.
And you can. That's the other thing. It's a sandbox, and you can craft vehicles. So you craft these ridiculous vehicles, like you smush and it's just by standing next to them. You'll find like a motorbike and a steamroller next to each other. You run up, you craft them. It takes a second or two, and then you jump on it, and you're just flattening zombies like nobody's business. It's so much fun. I mean, the one problem the game has is that you find yourself never sticking to the story, because it's so much fun to go and just flatten zombies. I mean, it truly is, and it's a proper sandbox as well. I would recommend this to anyone because I think it's basically a knockout game, truly. I mean, even if you have reservations about the series, I mean, it's still very much a Dead Island game. There's still those very sort of
Dead Rising.
odd... sorry, what did I say?
Dead Island.
That's funny because there is a symmetry there because it's like Dead Island, it's not glitchy, it's funnier, and there's much more variety in the missions. But it still has those oddball bosses. It's much funnier. The dialogue's dumber. I mean, I think you'd really appreciate it. And you can always undercut what little seriousness there is by putting your character in a stupid shark costume and then watching him act out in the cutscenes that way. But the bosses are really great. There's this mental bodybuilder. There's this old lady in a wheelchair who's stockpiled all the food, and she goes mad because you're trying to get some food. So while you're fighting her, she keeps running over trying to eat it, and then she starts yakking everywhere. There's a guy who's gone mad, so he thinks he's a spaceman. So he's gone into the museum and he's flying around in a spaceman outfit. And every time you shoot him, he goes, "You're really quite disagreeable." It's truly quite amusing, and I think it's an excellent game. I mean, it's definitely more of an 8 than a 7. I've seen like a couple of people, Eurogamer gave it a 7, for example. It's an 8 comfortably for me, and I'm looking forward to playing on Nightmare mode where you can only save by toilets, the zombies are harder, etc. But yeah, I mean, really genuinely excellent.